Hello and welcome. So, if you ask me today, which is the hottest technology today in the IT world, I would tell you it is generative AI, right? Now, you might ask, but what is generative AI? So, before we actually start understanding what is generative AI, I would like you to I'd like you to be reminded of the onion structure that we studied in our first lesson, where I told you that the topmost layer is artificial intelligence. Then underneath it is machine learning. So machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Then we understood deep learning, right? Where we saw the concept of neural networks, right? So deep learning is a subset of machine learning, and here comes generative AI. Remember, generative AI is a subset of deep learning. So whatever we learned in deep learning or neural networks, artificial neural networks, that acts as the backbone for generative AI. So if today you are learning generative AI, I would say you should have a very good understanding of what is deep learning, right? And we did good in-depth understanding of deep learning through neural networks. And also we studied several different types of models as well, right? So what is generative AI? So generative AI, as the name suggests, always go at the root word. I always tell you, generate, right? You are generating something. Generate is the root word. You are generating, you are building something, right? So generative AI can create wide range of content, including text, images, music, and even code. So remember, with generative AI, we are not only saying that you can create just simple text, you can even create music, you can create images, and even code. So you can ask a simple Python program or even a complex Python program to a generative AI software, and it should be able to generate or create, I would say, the Python program for you as well. So with generative AI, you're learning from data. So as I told you, data, it's very important that the quality and quantity, right? That always matters, especially when you are training your models, right? So these systems learn from large data sets. So quantity is really important, and obviously the quality, right? Because you are making patterns, you are understanding the patterns, and then you're making predictions. So that's where quality and quantity very important, which helps you to understand the patterns, styles, and enables them to produce similar kind of output, right? So it's pretty self-explanatory. As I told you, generative AI backbone is deep learning, right? So many generative AI systems use deep learning techniques, particularly neural networks. So you will see that the backbone or the back end of a generative AI system, or if we today talk about ChatGPT, would be neural networks, which is helping you to generate or create the content. Now you might ask, but what are the applications? It's pretty simple. It's actually being used in various fields like art, right? So let's say you have to create a new image. In entertainment, you can create videos. In marketing, you can create nice marketing slides. Even software development, as I said, that you can even write code as well through generative AI, right? And we are improving the efficiency. So the data scientists are continuously working on it. By automating the creation process, it can significantly reduce the time and effort which is required to produce the content. So just think about the content creation, where the content creators had to write a lot of content, then they had to do a lot of editing. It is improving the efficiency, right? So previously you used to create the content, then you used to edit the content, then you used to say amend the content, proofread it, right? So all this used to happen. Now what we are saying is just give your input to a Gen AI system, and it will give you the output. And there's nothing really which you can improve upon, right? Because it is already coming through a very deep learned kind of a model, you can call it that way, right? So you're automating the creation process. Yes, there are some challenges and ethical considerations. So there are concerns regarding the originality copyright and potential misuse of the generated content. So there is definitely a copyright problem, right? Anybody can use the ChatGPT, get the content and say, this is my original content, which is not the case, right? So this is where we need to be really careful if we are using something directly from generative AI systems. But for the moment, you can just understand that there are, yes, with generative AI, there are certain challenges you need to be aware of. And it is continuously, there is a continuous evolution happening, rapidly improving, I would say. Every day you will see new changes coming up, right? So generative AI technologies are rapidly evolving, becoming more sophisticated over time. And as we say, they are getting more accurate, right? And as the aim is nothing but prediction. So it is a user generated input. So these systems can start with a simple user input like a text prompt and expand into a full-fledged creation. So simple example, let's say if I say, can you if I say, can you write me a nice poem for my wife whom I met in London on a specific day, right? And you can just specify some qualities about your wife and all, and ask this Gen AI system to write a poem for you. And you will be surprised that it, within a matter of few seconds, it will actually come up with a complete poem, right? So that's why it's a user-generated input. You are starting with simple, plain English. You are saying, please write me a poem on this, or write me an essay on this, or give me some bullet points on a specific thing, right? And it will expand into a full-fledged, text, right? And yes, we need to be aware of certain indisciplinary impact. So the impact is definitely felt across several disciplines, which is revolutionizing the traditional methods in the field of journalism, design, and education. So that's where we need to be really careful about these generative AI systems. How and where are we utilizing these systems? So for the moment, it's best to understand that generative AI is a subset of deep learning. And generative, as the name suggests, generating or creating, you're creating new content, right? That's the major difference. And in the next video, we'll take a look between a difference between predicted AI and generative AI. So thanks for watching.